I have spent weeks researching the internet, after finding that in the run-up to the PSVR2's February 22 release, Sony has reduced its quarterly shipment forecast from 2 million to 1 million units. They have cancelled the shipment for half their stock. A single unit costs around $549.99, so a million units would cost $549,990,000. That is a significant loss, and I was curious as to why the VR2 pre-orders were so low. A few weeks from its release, the PlayStation VR2 should be an intriguing addition to the PS5 for people who appreciate virtual reality. Given that the PS5 console has been selling like hotcakes, why is the PlayStation VR2 having trouble getting pre-orders? The top 5 reasons, in my opinion, that the PSVR2 isn't selling as well as Sony had intended. The astronomically expensive cost. The retail cost of the PlayStation VR2 is $549.99 in the US and £529.99 in the UK. For far less than that, you can get a PS5 system. That represents a significant price increase over the first PlayStation VR, which was initially offered for $399 in the US and £349 in the UK. The PlayStation VR2 is actually quite affordable when compared to the competitors, you could say. Similar technology, such eye tracking, is available in the MetaQuest Pro, which cost an eye-watering £1,499.99/£1,499.99 when it first launched. Although this headset was designed with prosumers and companies in mind, it nonetheless has identical specifications to the PSVR2. That doesn't change the fact that PlayStation VR2 requires a sizable investment, which might deter individuals who haven't tried virtual reality yet. The fact that a PS5 is necessary for it to work also raises the setup's overall cost. Lack of backward compatibility. It will be difficult to persuade VR newcomers to purchase an expensive headset. Instead, Sony would be far better off appealing to those who purchased the original PlayStation VR headset. To that end, Sony is doing a poor job of courting existing fans after confirming that the PSVR2 will not be backwards compatible. That means you'll have to start building your game library from scratch, rendering all of your previous PSVR purchases effectively obsolete. To add salt to the wound, the PSVR2 launch lineup includes well-known titles like Moss, No Man's Sky, and Res Infinite. All of these titles were available on the original headset, so PSVR owners may have already purchased them, but in order to play them on the PSVR2, you'll need to make a new purchase. As a result, Horizon Call of the Mountain, Gran Turismo 7, and Resident Evil Village are the only major launch titles that were not available on the previous headset. Sony will need to improve on that offering in order for the PSVR2 to be a worthwhile upgrade. Being a PlayStation Direct pre-order exclusive. Sony launched PlayStation Direct, its new online store, last year. This allowed the company to sell its hardware directly to fans rather than giving a cut to third-party retailers like Amazon and Game. Sony has made the PSVR2 a pre-order exclusive for PlayStation Direct in order to raise the profile of its new online store. That means you won't be able to buy it anywhere else before the launch. While I understand Sony's motivation for increasing publicity for its online store, it's not surprising that this has a negative impact on PSVR2 sales. Customers are far less likely to come across the PSVR2 and buy it on the spur of the moment. Sony must also keep in mind that many PS5 owners are casual gamers who are less likely to keep up with the news cycle. Some people may be unaware that the PSVR2 will be released on February 22, especially since retailers such as Amazon are not advertising the product ahead of time. A bad time to release a new VR headset. February is an odd month to release a new expensive VR headset. Game consoles are typically released just before Christmas, with the PS5 and Xbox Series X being released in November. This is a clever strategy because they become good options for gifts at a time when people are more likely to spend large sums of money. People are likely to be more frugal with their money in February. Smartphones and laptops are different because people will look to upgrade if their contract is coming to an end or their outdated hardware is becoming a nuisance. The PlayStation VR2 is a luxury item that is difficult to justify a large outlay for. A few game consoles saw success after their initial release in the first half of the year. The original Nintendo Switch is an excellent example, but the hybrid console has greater mass market appeal and debuted with a massive hit in Breath of the Wild. We've also seen a significant drop in large ticket purchases over the last year or so. This is most likely due to the economic climate, as energy, gasoline, and rent have all increased in price. With many people struggling to make ends meet, purchasing a PSVR2 is probably the last thing on their mind. The initial PSVR lineup was unsatisfying. The reputation of the preceding edition of a games console will frequently have a significant impact on the sales of the successor. For example, the PS4's popularity will undoubtedly have had a significant impact on the PS5's impressive sales figures. A similar pattern is very likely to be seen with VR headsets. Unfortunately for the PSVR2, most gamers do not remember the previous PSVR headset fondly. There are several reasons for this, including the fact that its controllers quickly became obsolete in comparison to rival headsets, and it was always a pain to set up with multiple cables. The most serious issue, however, was the lackluster game library. Although there are many other fabulous third-party VR games, including Beat Saber, Superhot VR, Thumper, and Moss, these were all available on more affordable headsets like the Oculus Quest and Meta Quest 2. Astrobot Rescue Mission was arguably the only sizable PlayStation exclusive to launch on the PSVR. Many PSVR owners are likely asking whether these problems will also affect the PSVR 2. To be fair to Sony, it has already begun addressing these issues by releasing Gran Turismo 7 and Horizon Call of the Mountain, but more exclusives will be required if the PlayStation VR 2 is ever going to become a major success. Hopefully, VR adaptations of popular series like God of War, The Last of Us, Spiderman, and others will emerge. With that being said, we come to an end for today's video. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked the content or if you learned something new today. Consider subscribing to Gaming Room for more similar content, and we'll see you in the next one.